One of the most rewarding cases that my firm's ever had, this little girl and the other family members, very good people, and our firm was very pleased and honored to represent them in this case. My name is Derryberry. My firm is Derryberry Zips Wade, and we are located in Tyler, Texas and Dallas, Texas. We have an emphasis on catastrophic injury and death cases, and we handle a lot of commercial motor vehicle cases with an emphasis on 18-wheeler crashes. I became involved in this case early on. The crash happened June 4th of 2017. Actually, one of the people who were involved in the crash was a former employee of a referring lawyer that sends us cases. And an 18-wheeler who was speeding in a construction zone with his cruise control on, rear-ended vehicle. The 3 children were in the back. And all of the children, well, all the occupants, all of our clients were injured, but this little girl was injured the most severely. The seatbelt, at some point, someone undid it, some child in the back. So we were left with the argument. It was undisputed because of the forensic science that we had and the evidence. They were double belted. But at the time of the crash, we know the seatbelt was not on. So that was a huge obstacle for us to overcome since she was not belted. But we did overcome it. And so we had a variety of experts. She had kind of her own subset because of her damage issues. We had her treating physician who did the surgeries on her face. She had to have plates and screws placed in her skull and her cheek. And we also had a board-certified neuropsychologist who performed neuropsych testing on this little girl, came to conclusions, obviously, that she had a significant brain injury and was going to be affected for the remainder of her life. We ultimately selected DK Global after investigating and doing research on several companies like DK, and we're glad we did. So we wanted to put a whole picture. We actually did an animation of her injury profile dealing with all of her injuries, including her orthopedic, her neurological, rods placed into her left femur. As I mentioned, she basically had her face peeled back, had screws and plates put in her head and her cheek. And so we wanted to give the jury a real good picture of what all of those injuries looked like. And so DK Global worked with the treating maxillofacial expert. And so he actually worked with them looking at the MRIs and making changes to the drafts, and then also had a neurologist that was board certified and dealt with DK Global on that as well, because the experts really were the ones who were going to have to prove up the animation once we got to trial, and those experts were willing to work with DK Global to make sure everything was admissible once we got to trial. And it really worked out well and aided us. We used that as part of our damage demand that we made on the carrier, and it was also part of our mediation presentation. And so it was we thought, a very valuable tool and resource. We mediated the case approximately 60 days before trial, and we reached a confidential 8-figure plus settlement with a trucking company and its driver. A very good settlement for them. One of the most rewarding cases that my firm's ever had, this little girl and the other family members, we were able to negotiate a very good settlement for them. The little girl will be taken care of for the rest of her life. The other family members, her aunt and uncle and cousins, will also be, and a very good people, nice people, the kind of clients you want to have, and our firm was very pleased and honored to represent them in this case.